Hi, it's Rabbi Lewis wishing you an early Shabbat shalom. And I want to start by saying I do appreciate how some of you show love for me through your worry that I might be walking on the wrong side of the street. I assure you, I am walking facing traffic as you all wish. That if it appears otherwise, it's because there's a mirror setting on my camera that I keep not switching back. I will get there eventually one of these weeks. But rest assured, if you're seeing this, I am healthy and fine. If I were to be hit by a car, there would be no video for me to post. Okay, let's move on. Appreciate your show of love for concern for my safety. Let's talk about expressions of love. This Torah portion, PARASHAT VAYIKRA, which is the beginning of the book of Vayikra, known as Leviticus otherwise, reminded me of the great song by Little Stevie Wonder, I Just Called to Say I Love You. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart. The Torah portion, Vayikra, opens up with God calling to Moses. And what does God say? It's not, I love you and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. It's a whole list of sacrifices. And essentially, God is saying, I just called to tell you how to love me and to mean it from the bottom of your hearts. You all know that I have problems with the book of Leviticus, a great many of them. We're going to add this one to the list. Because if you have expectations of a loving relationship, as God does with the people of Israel, it might be best not to start with the expectations, especially if you're seeking mutuality. It might be best to start with, and God called out to Moses and said, you know what, I really love you, and this is how, as a mysterious God that you can't all see and hear and touch, this is how you can show your love for me so we can have this mutuality of affection. But God doesn't start that way. So our tradition tries to dig deep to show us that it is always understood, even without the words, that the very act of creation, God wouldn't have created us if God didn't love us. A scholar, Reuven Kemmelman, suggests that only a God who loves us would demand a loving response, such as God does. There's also just a general concept that God shows love specifically for the people of Israel through the gift of Torah, a gift of instruction of a good way to live an ethical life. That does, yes, include sacrifices, which we now interpret as sacrifices of our hearts through words and through deeds, the way that we take care of creation. But what do we still lack? The actual words of God just calling to say, I love you. So I think that it's okay for us to accept that, especially for the people of Israel in the desert, when God's talking to Moses, God just redeemed them from Egypt not that long before. It's pretty clear there's a love going on there. It's pretty clear that all of these things that God has done, even to the point where there's a midrash that says God looks down and sees that we've enjoyed a good meal and that we've been satiated by the things that God has created, that's one way that God shows love, is by, kind of like being the classical Jewish mother and says, I just like seeing you enjoy it. That's all good. But maybe we can learn that blank that is left there when we call upon somebody, that maybe we lead with the words of love before we then start talking about expectations or specific things, that it's good to know that there's no mystery, that we can actually then perhaps do one better when we interact with each other. Sometimes we can be too direct. Sometimes it's best to let people truly know how you feel so that you can then work on establishing the way that the relationship continues and grows from there. Anyhow, just a few thoughts on PARASHAT VAYIKRA, how God loves us, how more importantly we show love for each other and for all of the creation around us. And I hope we continue to learn and study as we get deeper into PARASHAT VAYIKRA and the book of Leviticus. In the meantime, have a Shabbat Shalom. Hope to see you real soon.